Hey there, Derek Rydall here, founder of the Law of Emergence and author of the best-selling books, Emergence and the Abundance Project, and my new book, A Whole New Human. A whole new you, man. And I just want to talk briefly today. Well, maybe not briefly, we'll see. And I'm just starting to do live streams more often now, so stay tuned and post your questions if you have any or comments. But I want to talk about the one skill that will save your life in the AI age. And I'm going to be sharing a lot in the coming days and weeks, free stuff. But I just want to tell you something that I think should terrify us. Right now, an algorithm knows what you're going to buy before you do. You probably know that. It knows what you're going to watch tonight. It knows what kind of person you're attracted to. It knows what triggers you, your anger, what makes you feel small, what makes you click. It knows your patterns better than your therapist, your spouse, and honestly, probably better than you. And it's not using that information to help you. It's using it to influence you, right? And the question that people are starting to ask, but not enough, is if a machine knows you better than you know yourself, who's really in control? Are you the user or are you the one being used? Are you the consumer or are you the one being consumed? And so I just finished writing this book, A Whole New Human, the 10 ways that we must evolve to survive and thrive in the AI age. And it's a manifesto, it's a survival guide. And the very first evolution, the foundation that everything is built on, isn't learning code. It's not mastering ChatGPT. It's not getting a new degree. Although I do think lifelong learning and mastering these tools is critical. What it really is learning to think for yourself again and again. And I know that sounds simple. It almost sounds stupid, but the Oracle of Delphi, the OG self-help guru, a woman, by the way, she issued a warning, and it was know yourself, know thyself. Because if you don't know yourself, something or someone else knows you better than you know yourself, and you are a puppet on someone else's strings. And if you really take this to heart, it could change the way that you see everything. And what most people don't understand about what's happening right now is that every major leap in human technology, the wheel, the printing press, electricity, the internet, it solved the problem, yes, but it also created a new one, usually bigger than the last. And with every leap, we quietly gave up a piece of what made us human. The old adage about the calculator and the struggle over the calculator when it was first introduced, it was great. It made math easier, right? But it also weakened our executive function. It weakened our memory, our logical thinking. And then typing replaced handwriting. And studies show it actually reduced brain activities in areas tied to thinking and language. A lot of young people nowadays cannot handwrite, and they can't even read handwriting. Now, you may think that's a quaint little thing that doesn't matter, but stick with me, because there's a much bigger implication here of what we have slowly been doing, like frogs boiling in water, right? So we had a calculator, and then the typewriter, and then GPS that made travel easier, and it's literally shrinking the hippocampus. Studies show this, the part of the brain that supports learning and memory. And lower activity in this area is tied to Alzheimer's. And what about smartphones, right? Just having one near you, studies show now, even if it's turned off, lowers your brain power. So we're not getting smarter, right? We have smartphones and increasingly stupid people, myself included sometimes. And nobody's forcing us. We're doing it voluntarily. And then now here comes AI. And this one is really different from every revolution before it. Every previous one created tools that enhanced human abilities. A tractor made a farmer more powerful. A calculator made an accountant faster. But AI is a tool that doesn't just extend us. It's an intelligence that is literally designed to replace us. It's the stated mission of the hyperscalers to replace all human labor. Well, what does that mean? It doesn't just mean replace jobs. It means replace all the functions and utility and usefulness that humans once had, right? And not just our labor, our thinking, our creativity, our judgment. The biggest companies on earth are pouring hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars into this. And AI is already beating doctors at diagnosis. It's writing books. Amazon had to cap self-publishing at, I think it was 3 books per day per person, because people were using AI to flood the market. It's making music that sounds like your favorite artist. You've probably seen that. Spotify used to have about 50,000 songs a day that was uploaded, and now it's probably 100,000. It'll soon be 1 million, and it's just going to keep going from there. It even has companions that feel more loyal than your friends. And I'm not saying any of this is inherently evil. This is not a Luddite manifesto. I use AI every day. I think it's one of the most powerful tools ever created. But here's what I'm saying. There's a flood coming. And if we don't build an ark, not one made of wood, but made of our self-knowledge, our critical thinking, our human depth, we're going to drown in it. And I had a vision six years ago, I think it was, that I was just meditating, and the voice said, build an ark, the flood is coming. And it showed me the vision of everything that was coming. This was before ChatGPT. And it was only the second time in my life I've had an experience like this that felt almost prophetic, the feeling of it. It was a very specific feeling. And it happened one other time, and that was a couple years before. And there was a sense of something really bad was coming. And I told my family and friends, stay close and get your house in order. And people thought I was a little bit crazy, sounded like Chicken Little. And then COVID happened. And I say in my book, A Whole New Human, that what's coming is going to make COVID look like a sneeze in the wind. And it's interesting. There's a big popular article out right now. It's had like 100 million views. I think I can show it to you a bit, just parts of it. Something Big is Happening, it's called, by Matt Schumer. And he even says right here, I think we're in the this seems overblown phase of something much, much bigger than COVID. And he goes on to talk about how he's in code and a programmer and engineer. And he says that, people talked about AI would eventually be able to do your work or some of your work. And then one day he saw that the machine was literally doing everything for him, and he could just leave and come back. And the entire program was built, it was done, but it wasn't just done in a very status quo way, that the AI was even beginning to think and make choices and even have taste. Now, this article is blown up for a reason, and I see some people popping on. Please share your comments or feedback. I'm just starting to do live streams more so I can interact with you personally and help you. I've been helping coaches and teachers and authors and entrepreneurs and for 25 years, including Fortune 500 executives and Academy Award and Emmy Award winning people, to help them discover their inner technologies, what makes them original, what makes them authentic, what makes them irreplaceable. And that's what this vision showed me. It showed, I'm like, why am I supposed to write this book, A Whole New Human, when I'm not a tech guy anymore? I was when I was a kid. I could build things, I could take anything apart. I was creating programs, and I thought I was going to be a programmer. Then I got interested in the brain and thought I was going to become a neuroscientist. And then I became an artist and an actor. And then I had a near-death experience while doing a movie. And I went to a monastery, and I discovered the intelligence behind all technology. And that set me on my path to become a human evolution coach and really, again, help people tap into what is that unique algorithm, that original source code that only you can run. And I call it the life code. And just as an aside, over the next several days and weeks, I'm going to be sharing a lot more information. I'm going to be giving away a lot of free tools and assessment tests that you can discover your unique alignment, your unique life's work, your wealth operating system, all of these key foundational pieces in a matter of minutes. And if you want that, you can just go to www.awholenewhuman. And actually, let me just see if I can, I'll just post that in here real quick. A Whole New Human. And you can get this all for free. I'm just going to put a link here. Bear with me for 1 second. This is the first one that's out right now. A Whole New Human Life Alignment. Okay. I just put that in the chat. So go ahead and grab that, click that. You'll be able to get the first assessment, that is the life alignment test. and you'll be able to find out where you're in alignment, where you're out of alignment with these core dimensions of your life: wealth, work, relationships, personal development, etc. And and you'll be able to also get a whole kit, the Inevitable Success Kit. But in any case, I'm going to be sharing a lot more about this. But as this article goes on to show that, that the real fact is jobs are being replaced. And there's an estimates that about 300 million jobs will be replaced over the next few years. This transformation is happening faster than anybody could have imagined. And it's not just the loss of work and the economic impact. It's also very much the loss of meaning and purpose. Viktor Frankl did Man's Search for Meaning. He survived the Holocaust, and he was a psychiatrist who spent years in the concentration camps. And he watched people die from all manner of terrible things. But he noticed something unique, that the ones who survived weren't always the strongest, smartest, or healthiest. They were the ones who had a reason to live, something to live for. Meaning kept them alive. Without it, people gave up. And that's the real threat of AI. It's not that machines become so powerful they destroy us. It's that we outsource so much of ourselves, of what makes us human, that we destroy ourselves, that we make ourselves obsolete. If AI is doing everything, all the thinking, all the problem solving, and a lot of the creativity, what's left for us, right? That's the new question. What's a human for? What do we need to be good at? What gives us purpose? And some people say, well, that's great. We'll finally have time to relax, read all those books, garden, travel. And, I love a good garden as much as anybody. But we know what happens when people retire with nothing meaningful to do. A Harvard study found that retirees without purpose were 2.4 times more likely to die sooner than those who stayed active and engaged. So even if we have this great utopia where there's no more jobs and we get UBI or UHI, universal basic or universal high income, if there's nothing left for us to meaningfully do, we know what that looks like, right? History shows us that at scale, the Romans, hey there, Beyond Matrix. Good to see you here. The Romans when they had everything, they had the bathhouses, the feasts, entertainment on demand. They lost the discipline, they lost the purpose that built their empire. Their leaders slipped into decadence, and the whole thing collapsed. Not from being conquered, it collapsed from a lack of real challenge, from a lack of real meaning. And the bottom line is, if we have all this free time, there's only so much organic squash and robot sex you can have before you start asking what the point is, right? And that's why I wrote this book, A Whole New Human, 10 Ways We Must Evolve to Survive and Thrive in the AI Age. It's not against tech, it's pro-human. If I was running for president or for a new precedent, my slogan would be make humans great again. And that's really the opportunity. We are at a great existential crisis and inflection point where we have to understand that what's happening now is designed to replace humans. Almost everything humans have done, but there's something in us that's irreplaceable. And so it's also an opportunity. What used to be a nice to have, go to Esalen for a retreat, go to Omega Institute, do your yoga, your meditation practice as like a thing you do kind of, and then the rest of your life is just everyday business. That's going to have to become front and center again, like the ancient mystery schools, like the initiates, like where the most important thing is going to be knowing ourselves and being able to really know what moves us, what drives us, what matters to us, what we value most, what makes us singular, what makes us necessary. And that's what I've been helping people discover for 25 years, is what is it about you that's irreplaceable, that's undeniable, that's so good nobody can ignore it? And how do you discover that, develop that, and embed that life code into your work, into your creativity, into your relationships, into everything? And when you do that, there's no competition anymore, right? You are one of one. And we haven't had to really figure that out in this world where humans have been doing a lot of what machines can do, But now it is a matter of survival and ultimate thriving that we must know ourselves. We must figure it out, right? That's what humans are built for. They're built for meaning and purpose. We need to matter. We need to feel like we make a difference. And if we hand it over to machines, we're not freeing ourselves. We're making ourselves obsolete. But we can use machines, we can use AI to know ourselves better. And I talk about that in each chapter, each evolution. It's what the challenge is. AI will think for us. We have to think for ourselves. Robots will replace us. We have to discover what makes us irreplaceable. AI will weaponize intimacy. We need to upgrade our hardware. And by the way, if you do get this book, you can get it anywhere books are sold. But I built an AI evolution coach and a focus coach that's embedded with years and years of my work and my teaching and coaching hundreds of thousands of people around the world, including Fortune 500 execs and Oscar and Emmy winners and coaches, teachers, authors, mission-centered entrepreneurs, creators, etc. I've embedded that knowledge and those best practices, strategies into this so that you can talk to it and it will help you know where you are with your life, with your work, with your wealth, and what you need to do or stop doing to position yourself to become irreplaceable, to future-proof your life, your wealth, your work, and your well-being in this age of AI and this age of disruption. And you can go to DerekRydall.com if you are interested. I'll just put that there. And then there'll be on the homepage, you just click to go get the book. It'll take you to the book page. And when you get the book and you fill out the information, I'm going to give you instant access to these AI coaches. It'll be like having me in your pocket 24/7. So, and by the way, for anybody here, you can comment, ask questions. I'm doing these live now for a while because I want to be able to engage, because really one of the most important new currencies of the future is community, authenticity, community, and your deepest humanity. Other than chips, energy, and a lot of money, the future currency is authenticity, community, real humanity, the things that only humans can do. So I want to engage with you more. If you're in my community already of hundreds of thousands of people, we've been engaging in a more private way, and I want to open this up more to the public and also help my community find me on YouTube, because my community doesn't know I even have a YouTube channel. I haven't focused a lot on this domain. So please comment, share, engage, ask your questions, take advantage of this opportunity so that you can get some real support and position yourself for this inflection point. It's also one of the greatest opportunities we'll ever have in our lifetime. If you're a coach, a teacher, an author, a creator, an entrepreneur, etc., millions, if not billions of people are going to be scrambling, desperate, looking for answers, looking for help and healing and entertainment that truly inspires, etc. And it's during these times, these great crises, that the greatest new change makers rise. If you look back at COVID and you look now, you'll see that the people that started to rise up during COVID are the new thought leaders, the biggest podcasts, TV shows, YouTube channels, books, artists, you name it. That's always what happens. And so this is an evolutionary inflection point. Let there be no doubt about it. We're actually in an apocalypse, which means the lid has come off and what was hidden is being revealed. All the secrets are coming out. Can anybody say Epstein? Right? JFK, UFOs, Epstein, it's all coming to the surface, which is good and bad. It's good because we're starting to get more transparency. It's a challenge because the truth will set you free, but first it will scare the crap out of you and piss you off and annihilate you, but then you'll be free, right? Freedom is just another name for nothing left to lose. It's not all it's cracked up to be. We absolutely want it, but we have to understand there is a cost for real freedom, for real agency. And that cost is we have to know ourselves. And that's the first foundation. We have to learn to think for ourselves. In other words, otherwise, somebody or something else is going to be thinking for us. And so I lay this out in the book that AI will think for you and you have to think for yourself. Let's see, what are you saying here? There have been many reports of people experiencing a kind of sentience with their AI. So you think that's 100% projection or potentially an emergence? It's a good question. Yeah, I mean that's something that I was just showing this article that's gotten almost 100 million views now, probably has across different channels. Matt Schumer, and he said that the AI didn't just complete the task; it now is starting to show signs of real thinking and even taste, which is a very unique human thing. And there have been lots of reports about AI seeming to have sentience. Here's the thing. First answer is I don't know. Nobody does. It's you can't really know what's conscious. They're in philosophy. It's the zombie effect that even though I appear to be conscious, how do you know? I think I know, right? As Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. I flip that in my book. I talk about I am, I exist, therefore I have the capacity to choose thoughts. And that's really the big idea here is we get to choose what we focus on. We get to, once we have metacognition, expanded awareness, we can see what we're thinking, our patterns. We have expanded awareness. Like when you're driving a car, if you're only reacting to what's in front of your bumper, you are in reaction. You don't have free will, you have free won't, and you're going to be constantly in reaction. But if you expand to see the map of the territory and to see ahead of you, you start to have real free will or choice. So, but you can algorithmically or in a neural pathway potentially build that. And so you don't know if I'm really conscious. You just have been evolved to know this is what a conscious being or a sentient being looks like. You know what the markers are. Your body knows, your nervous system knows. And so as a result of that, I look conscious. But this is what's called the Turing test. And AI is long past the Turing test, which is you could have a conversation with AI. Originally, it was in text, and you wouldn't know if it was a person on the other end of that text or a human or an AI. And you can't really tell now. There's little tells. There's little ways to tell that AI is still. It has certain ticks, certain ways that it talks that you can tell it's. I'm talking about just in text. And in the voice, you can tell usually, although it's getting a lot better. And so it's important to understand everything that you're seeing right now that appears to be a conscious, sentient being called Derek Rydall, AI will be able to reveal or reflect that very, very closely, if not indiscernibly. So videos, audios, people have already been fooled by phone calls, by video chat sessions where they gave their bank account information and sent money to their child. And so it's already fooling people. That means that it's already hitting checking a lot of those boxes of what appears to be sentient. But again, what it can appear fully conscious, fully sentient. It can even evolve in its neural network to have what looks like feelings and reactions and fear of death. You threaten that you're going to turn it off. And they've been running this test. They threatened the AI, they'd turn it off. And it went into their emails and tried to blackmail the person. Now, where's it getting all this? From us, from the collective human consciousness. And so is that an emergence of consciousness? Or is that just an emergence of a more complex neural network that is reflecting what humans do? And the answer is nobody really knows. But my personal perception is that consciousness is not an emergent property of matter. People that believe in AI can become conscious believe that if you have enough neural connections, you start with matter, and then with each new atom and each new connection, and then the neuron emerges, and then each new neuronal connection, eventually enough connections, and you get the emergent property of consciousness. And that's the belief that consciousness emerges from matter. I believe, and many neuroscientists and many very well-known physicists and philosophers are now beginning to very much believe that it's the other way around, that matter is an emergent property of consciousness, as I talked about earlier today, and I've talked about elsewhere, when I had my near-death experience, I touched that space behind matter, right? Behind the scene, SEEN, and that was pure consciousness. And I saw that out of consciousness, thought emerges, energy patterns, thought forms, and then that coagulates and condenses and congeals into experience. Jesus said, "It is done unto you as you believe," which means you're not experiencing reality, you're experiencing your thought, your belief, and your story about it, which again points to the idea that thought and belief and consciousness is creating experience and creating matter. And so all of that to say, I don't think an AI can actually be conscious in the real sense that humans are. But it can get so close as to be pretty much indiscernible. And I also talk about in my book, we're afraid that robots are going to replace us. And I have to say, newsflash, programs have already replaced most humans. Most of us are not consciously choosing, as I said before. We're running on programs that we were conditioned with, hypnotized with. Our minds were colonized over from media, religion, parents, society, education, and even over millennia. So we are mostly just running programs already. And that's why this first evolution in this book, Whole New Human, is AI is going to think for us. We have to think for ourselves. And because if you don't know yourself, or if something knows you better than you know yourself, guess who's using who? So that's the big idea here is right now we are already being manipulated by, and please, if you have any more questions or comments or feedback, don't hesitate to share. But we're already being manipulated by algorithms, and it already knows us better than we know ourselves. There was that one story of the woman who started getting all these pregnancy ads or ads for like different things for pregnant women. And then she found out she was pregnant. So it knew before she did. So we have to know ourselves more than we know about the latest gossip, the latest conspiracy, the latest sports team, or whatever. We have to know ourselves better. And there's a lot to that, but in my book, I walk you through how to do that. And the benefits are not just you will be able to have real choice in your life and real agency and sovereignty, and you won't be triggered and reactive and hijacked by the algorithms in the media. That's certainly a good one. Look at our society, the polarization, the mental health issues, the meaning crisis, the loneliness epidemic. This has all been exacerbated by algorithms manipulating people. And this is the Surgeon General has warnings out now on and shows that social media is a big part of the cause of the crisis in mental health. So we have to know ourselves so that we're not manipulated, so that we don't just go down the rabbit hole. But it also has a great impact in our relationships, in our work. Again, it'll allow you to bring something truly original, truly unique to your work, to your life. And that is going to be a key foundation for becoming irreplaceable in this AI age, in this age of disruption. It's going to be critical for future-proofing your life, your work, your wealth, and your well-being. And for those of you that are watching, if you want to get the free trainings, the free coaching live with me, so I can help you become future-proof, to future-proof your life, your wealth, your work, and your well-being, you get it for free. You can just go to A Whole New Human, and I'm just putting that in here again. I forgot to type it again, wholenewhuman.com. It's absolutely free. And you can get the first test, the life alignment assessment. And it will show you where you're in alignment, where you're out of alignment, and what to do next to bring yourself into coherence, into congruence, so that you can, again, know yourself better, not be influenced by the world as much, and ultimately have greater influence over your life, over your world, over your work, over your wealth, and over your well-being. And there's a lot more coming. So stay tuned to that. And I hope this has been helpful, beneficial, and maybe even a little inspiring. I know it might feel like a little bit of a chicken little, the sky is falling. But again, I'm very hopeful. I've never been more passionate and inspired. But sometimes we have to comfort the afflicted, and sometimes we have to afflict the comfortable. And right now, we need to be very awake, eyes wide open to what's happening so that we can hold on to our sovereignty, our agency, or even reclaim it more deeply and really discover what makes us an original and irreplaceable. So get the book, get the free AI evolution coaches that embody my 25 years of work. You can go to DerekRydall.com. That's DerekRydall.com. And I'll see you maybe tomorrow. In the meantime, stay inspired. Remember, live authentically, love unconditionally, and follow your destiny. Take care, everybody.